The crowd froze as a German shepherd lunged forward, barking wildly at a pregnant woman near the departure gates. She clutched her belly, voice trembling. "Please make him stop." Security surged in. Passengers gasped. Panic rippled through the terminal like a shockwave. Officer Daniel Reyes struggled to hold his K9 partner Kai, who barked with frantic urgency, desperate, almost horrified. The woman's face drained of color. "What's happening? I haven't done anything." But Kai didn't stop. His barking grew more intense, as if screaming a truth only he could see. Moments later, when the truth finally surfaced, it left everyone stunned, not because it was dangerous, but because it was a lie so perfectly crafted, it nearly cost a life. And what lay hidden beneath that calm smile would rewrite airport security protocols forever. If you love real-life hero stories, hit like and subscribe. We drop new ones every week. And tell me, where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments. I read every one. Morning light poured through the glass walls of the international terminal, glinting off polished floors and reflecting off rows of idle luggage trolleys. The air hummed with the rhythm of routine travel, the click of heels, the murmur of announcements, the low whir of conveyor belts. Officer Daniel Reyes adjusted his cap, scanning the crowd with quiet precision. To most, it was just another ordinary day. But for Daniel, every second in uniform meant vigilance, because danger often wore the mask of innocence. Beside him moved Kai, a 5-year-old German shepherd with amber eyes that missed nothing. His tail swayed with disciplined calm, every sense tuned to the pulse of the crowd. To Daniel, Kai wasn't just a working dog, he was family. 4 years of midnight raids, bomb sweeps, and silent trust had forged a bond words couldn't capture. Daniel knelt briefly, ruffling the fur behind Kai's ears. "Easy, boy. Just another patrol," he murmured. Kai's ears twitched in acknowledgement. Around them, children laughed, couples checked boarding passes, and tourists snapped selfies. The scene felt peaceful, almost too peaceful. But peace never lasted long in places like this. Kai suddenly halted mid-stride, nostrils flaring. Daniel noticed but didn't react immediately. Airports were full of strange scents. Still, a flicker of unease tugged at him. He'd learned to trust Kai's instincts. They'd saved lives before. He rose and scanned the terminal. Nothing seemed out of place. Families, business travelers, vacationers. Yet Kai's posture stiffened again, his head tilting toward the arrivals gate where a new wave of passengers streamed in. Daniel frowned. "What is it, partner?" Kai gave a low grunt, eyes narrowing. Then, as quickly as the tension appeared, he relaxed, tail flicking once. Daniel exhaled with a quiet chuckle. "You're keeping me on edge, huh?" He couldn't have known that within minutes, that calm morning would shatter into chaos. Kai's next reaction wouldn't just stop a crowd, it would expose a secret no human eye could detect. The terminal buzzed with peak morning energy. Passengers flowed through checkpoints like tides, conversations blending into a steady hum. Kai walked calmly at Daniel's side, nose lowered, sniffing with quiet precision. His discipline never wavered, no matter how chaotic things got. Then, amid the blur of movement, something shifted. A woman entered through the glass doors, tall, blonde, draped in a beige trench coat. Her white maternity dress stretched over a pronounced baby bump, and she carried 2 crisp brown shopping bags. Sunglasses hid her eyes, but her lips were pressed tight as if holding her breath. Daniel's gaze followed her instinctively. Most travelers glanced at screens or hurried toward gates, but she moved differently, slow, deliberate, rehearsed. Kai noticed too. His head lifted, nostrils flared once, twice, then his body locked rigid. Daniel stopped walking. "Easy, Kai," he murmured, tugging the leash gently. But the dog didn't budge. His ears pinned forward, eyes fixed on the woman like a radar locking onto a signal only he could hear. She approached the security line, adjusting her coat nervously. Daniel caught the faint tremor in her hands. Suspicion settled in his gut like cold stone. "Do you see something, buddy?" Kai answered with a low, restrained growl, unmistakable, urgent. Daniel's pulse quickened. Years on the force had taught him. Kai never reacted without reason. The air shattered as Kai barked, sharp, commanding, echoing off steel and glass. Heads snapped around. Conversations died mid-sentence. "Kai, heel," Daniel commanded, voice firm but calm. But the dog didn't obey. He lunged forward, muscles coiled, eyes blazing. Passengers stumbled back, clutching children and luggage. The woman froze, face paling. Please make him stop, she cried, stepping back, one hand pressed to her belly, the other raised defensively. Her shopping bags rustled. Kai's barking grew more frantic, not aggressive but desperate, as if trying to warn them of something invisible. Daniel's heart hammered. He'd seen Kai in bomb zones, in drug raids, but never like this. There was terror in the dog's voice, not rage. The woman shook her head violently. I haven't done anything wrong. I just want to board my flight. Tears welled in her eyes. Daniel tightened his grip on the leash, scanning her posture, her bags, her grip. She clutched her belly just a little too tightly, like she was guarding something. Then came a faint metallic clink as one bag brushed her knee. Something clicked in Daniel's mind. He motioned to a nearby officer. We need to check her, now. The woman's eyes widened with panic. Not fear of the dog, but fear of being discovered. Murmurs swelled as officers closed in. The woman stood frozen near the metal detector, breathing shallowly, hands trembling around the paper bags like they were her only shield. Behind her, phones rose, whispers spreading like wildfire. Daniel stepped forward, voice calm but firm. Ma'am, I need you to stay still. Kai's hackles stood on end, his gaze locked on her midsection, each growl more urgent than the last. Not a threat, but a warning. I told you I haven't done anything, she cried, voice breaking. He's scaring me. Can't you see I'm pregnant? Daniel's jaw tensed. He'd heard real fear before, but hers felt rehearsed, too controlled. We understand, he said evenly. But for everyone's safety, we need a quick screening. Officers Daniels and Perez moved in gently. Just a minute, okay? The woman hesitated, knuckles whitening around the bags. One tore slightly, revealing a flash of silver foil. Daniel's pulse jumped. Hold on, what's in the bag? Just baby things, she blurted too fast. Diapers, bottles. Please, you're embarrassing me. Before Daniel could respond, Kai barked again. A single explosive sound. The woman flinched, nearly dropping the bag. That was it. Daniels, take her to secondary screening. Now. As officers guided her away, Daniel saw it, the flicker of raw terror in her eyes. Not fear of arrest, fear of exposure. Kai's growl faded into a low whine as they disappeared down the hall. Good work, partner, Daniel whispered, rubbing Kai's neck. But one thought echoed in his mind. What exactly did you just uncover? The crowd parted as the woman was led into a sterile screening room tucked behind the checkpoint. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting a cold glow on white walls. She sat slumped in a chair, rubbing her belly in slow circles, sweat glistening on her forehead. I'm not feeling well, she whispered weakly. Please, I need to sit. A female officer knelt beside her, voice gentle. We'll be done soon. Outside the glass window, Daniel watched, Kai pacing restlessly beside him, tail rigid, eyes sharp, ears pinned forward. Every few seconds, the dog whined and pawed at the door. His unease was contagious. Inside, the woman's breathing grew shallow, her shoulders tense. Daniel's instincts flared. We need medical on standby, he said suddenly. You think she's faking? Perez asked. I think she's hiding something, Daniel replied. And Kai knows it. Before Perez could respond, the woman gasped sharply, doubling over in agony. Kai barked violently, slamming his paw against the door. Daniel's blood ran cold. Call medical now! Whatever this was, it wasn't normal pregnancy pain. It was the crisis Kai had been warning them about all along. The woman's scream tore through the room. Officers froze. She clutched her belly, eyes wide with terror. It hurts. Oh God, please help me. The screener knelt beside her. Stay with me, ma'am. Daniel pushed through the door, Kai right behind him, whining anxiously. The woman lay drenched in sweat, trembling uncontrollably, breaths coming in ragged bursts. BP's dropping fast, a paramedic shouted. We need to move. As they lifted her onto a stretcher, Kai barked insistently, nudging the shopping bag toward Daniel. Confused, Daniel opened it. Baby clothes, a teddy bear, nothing unusual. But beneath the pile, something glinted, a small metallic patch sewn into the lining. Before he could inspect it, the woman whispered weakly, Please, save my baby. As the stretcher rolled out, Kai followed, still unsettled, still barking. Daniel ran beside them, mind racing. This wasn't just medical, it was connected. And Kai knew it. At the ambulance bay, flashing lights painted the tarmac red and blue. Paramedics worked frantically, securing IV lines, monitoring vitals. Amid the chaos, Kai's barking cut through everything, desperate, not aggressive. "Easy, boy," Daniel said, gripping the leash. But Kai wouldn't calm. His nose pointed at the ambulance, tail stiff as steel. The lead paramedic shouted, "Suspected premature labor, possible internal trauma." Daniel nodded, but something gnawed at him. Kai had sensed danger before any human did, and even now, he refused to look away. Back in the security control room, Daniel placed the shopping bag on a stainless steel table. Kai stood beside him, nose twitching toward the bag like a compass locked on danger. Perez crossed his arms. "You really think there's something in there?" Daniel nodded. Kai doesn't react like this over nothing. He removed the items one by one. Tiny socks, a pacifier, a pink baby blanket. Kai growled low and deep. Daniel lifted the blanket and found a small pouch sewn into the seam. "Perez, get the UV scanner." Under violet light, a faint residue shimmered along the stitching. "That's not baby powder," Daniel muttered. "Could be narcotics," Perez whispered. Daniel's expression hardened. That explains her panic. But Kai's focus wasn't just on the bag, it was on her. He examined the metallic patch again. Kai barked once, sharp and certain. "You think she was smuggling something inside her?" Daniel asked aloud. The thought chilled him. She wasn't just hiding drugs, she was carrying them. Kai whined softly, eyes fixed on the distance, and Daniel knew. The real discovery was still waiting at the hospital. At Central General, doctors rushed the woman into trauma. Daniel and Kai arrived moments later. Through the glass, Daniel watched as a doctor moved an ultrasound probe over her swollen belly. The monitor flickered, then showed jagged, unnatural shapes. "That's not a fetus," the doctor murmured. "There's something artificial inside." Daniel stepped in. "What are you saying?" The doctor lowered his voice. "A synthetic structure, hollow compartments, metallic reflections." The nurse gasped. "She's not actually pregnant?" "Not even close," the doctor confirmed. "Get surgical team ready, now." In the recovery room hours later, the woman lay pale but awake. "I didn't want to do it," she whispered. "They promised money, said it was medicine. But it was liquid narcotics hidden in a fake womb." Tears streaked her cheeks. "They threatened my daughter." Daniel's anger softened into pity. "You're lucky to be alive." She looked at Kai by the door. He knew before anyone else. Daniel nodded. He always does. By afternoon, Daniel was back at the airport. Armed with intel, he coordinated a sting. As passengers poured in from Istanbul and Madrid, Kai walked the line, nose twitching, eyes scanning. Then he froze. A woman in a gray coat, hand resting on her belly. Kai barked once, low, sharp, decisive. "K9 alert, detain her now." Officers moved fast. Beneath her coat, another prosthetic womb packed with narcotics. Minutes later, a man in a dark suit was arrested near the gate, briefcase full of forged IDs and a satellite phone linked to Victor Hale. Daniel watched them led away in cuffs. Kai sat proudly at his side. "You did it again, partner," Daniel whispered. Kai leaned his head against Daniel's leg, a quiet acknowledgement. The storm had passed, but their story wasn't over. That night, Daniel sat on the terminal steps, Rex at his side, the city lights shimmering on wet tarmac. The adrenaline had faded, leaving only quiet pride. He ran a hand over Kai's fur. "You saw what none of us could. You saved her, and maybe a lot more." Kai's tail thumped lazily. Daniel smiled. "You know, we see the worst of people sometimes. Lies, greed, cruelty. But today, you reminded me there's still something pure about what we do." He stared at the runway lights. "You don't see evil or innocence. You just act on what's right." Kai lifted his head, pressing it gently against Daniel's knee. In that silence, under a sky dusted with stars, Daniel understood. Sometimes heroes don't wear badges. Sometimes they walk on four paws, guided only by loyalty, instinct, and love.